So here's a question for you. What makes a 10 out of 10 game? And really the question is, what does 10 out of 10 mean to you? Because I think the answer for a lot of people is going to be different from person to person. So objectively, or at least semi-objectively, when you're looking at things like review scores on Metacritic, or looking at the opinions of YouTubers when they give something a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 and they say this game is just absolutely amazing, the criteria by which they judge these games differs depending on their personal experiences, their personal biases, their favorite styles of games, their favorite types of characters, their favorite types of stories. So for me, for example, in a JRPG, if it has a science fiction story, it's gonna hit a little bit harder for me than if it has a fantasy-based story. So I'm probably going to rank that game higher. And then, of course, I absolutely love racing games, and I absolutely love simulation racing games that are on tracks with car customization and stuff like that. So I'm always going to rank something like Gran Turismo higher than something like Forza Horizon, because Forza Horizon, while beautiful and impressive, is an arcade-style game that's rather directionless. I like a racing game that's linear, that's straightforward. You've got tracks, you get first place in each track, you upgrade your car, maybe you buy a new car, you do the next track, the next race. That's the style of racing game I like. So I'm going to rate something like Gran Turismo 6, much higher than, say, Forza Horizon 3 or 4. Now I haven't played Forza Horizon 5, so I can't really judge, but I am actually downloading it on PC Game Pass as we speak. So I may mention, my feelings on that next week. But getting back to the point, what makes a 10 out of 10 game? And how do you come to the realization that something is a perfect game? Because guess what? There's no such thing as a perfect game. Absolutely no such thing. Every game, even the very best games, have some kind of glitch, some kind of bug, some kind of something that could have been done better, whether it's the writing or the environments or the character models or the animations or the music. Very, very few games get all of these things right. For me, something like Breath of the Wild is a 10 out of 10 because it really hits all of those notes. But very few games really get a 10 out of 10. And for me, what hits it for me is when a game gets that synergy between all of the different elements. It's really not about the game having amazing graphics or whatever. It's about how all the different parts of the game come together to give me an emotional experience, because it's always been about the stories for me, more than the gameplay. But it's more than just the story. It's the vibe, it's the meta of the game that really draws me in. I'm playing Scarlet Nexus right now, and the game is just a masterpiece in my opinion, just because the fluid combat, the beautiful graphics, the characters are interesting and they're conversational with each other. The voice acting in English is pretty darn good. The music is kind of jazzy and lighthearted, which I absolutely love. And so when all of these things come together, it creates an unforgettable experience, and that is what I would call a 10 out of 10. So I don't know, guys, how do you judge your 10 out of 10s? Are you like a graphics snob, that you only give a 10 out of 10 to something that looks absolutely perfect, absolutely amazing? Are you a gameplay sort of person, where you're looking at the most fluid combat, the most amazing combos, the greatest combat animations and things like that? For, are you more of a gameplay style person, or are you more of like the music and the story and the vibe of the game? Is that how you decide? Because I made a video a week ago or so talking about review scores. Nobody really watched that video for some reason. It bombed. But, the topic was, can you trust review scores? And I think the answer is they can only be used as a rough guideline. When you're looking at those numerical scores on something like Metacritic, just because something got an 80 does not mean that that game is for you. And that's a problem that a lot of people have out there, is they seem to think that every game that they want to play is for them. And they're just not. there are millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of gamers out there, and games are designed to fit into a certain niche, to please a certain segment or demographic of that population of gamers. Not every game is for you, and while someone else might say it's a perfect 10, when you play it, you just simply don't like it, and that's okay. And then, quite frequently, you are going to fall in love with something that maybe only got a 68 or a 71. So you've really got to come to grips with what it is that you like in a game and honestly find sources for your information that match your preferences and your gameplay styles. Because what's a 10 out of 10 for me, and I love to watch these YouTube videos from my favorite YouTubers, Happy Console Gamer, for example, when he does his 10 out of 10 games, but I don't always agree with him because I don't have the same likes and dislikes that he does. It's super cool to see what he's passionate about, but what I'm passionate about is a completely different ball game, although I do agree with him quite frequently. Anyways, guys, down in the comments below, let me know what some of your 10 out of 10 games are. I would love to check some of them out and see if they could be my 10 out of 10s too. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay classy.